In this lecture, we will see how to create script report in Frappe. Let's start learning. Open web and go to report list. Then open a new tab and open server-side scripting doc type. Here we can see report view, and if I click on the report view, we can see our previous reports in this list. Let's go to report list again and add a new report. Reference document server-side scripting. Then name is server-side scripting script report. And select report type script report, and it should be a standard one. I'm not changing anything here. We can add different roles for this report. I'm adding 2 roles: account user and accounts manager. Then click on save. This will create a report directory inside our programming module directory, and inside that we can see this server-side script report controlling files. Let's open VS Code and see that files. Let's go to our demo application. Then this is our programming module. Inside that we can see doc type directory and print format directory. If we select is standard print, this will create a print format directory, and inside that we can see a JSON file which contains that print format settings and that customized things and all. So these are the directory which contains that print format, and below that we can see our report directory, and these are the standard reports associated with this programming module. And I am focusing on server-side scripting script report. So this is that directory, and let's close this. And here we can see one JavaScript file and a Python file. So we are doing scripting in these files. The third file is a JSON file, and here we can see the roles associated with this report. Only accounts user and account manager can view this report, and all other report configurations are inside this JSON file. I'm closing this file, and let's open the server-side scripting script report JS file. Here we can add our filters. So let's open web and click on show report. It shows nothing and it is completely blank. So let's add some filters in this report. Open JS file, and here we can add filters. I'm copying some code from client-side scripting report. So these are the code. Then let's paste it inside our server-side scripting script report filter. And this is my first filter, and it's a link field, and it is linked to server-side scripting. Let's change the label to server-side scripting, and in options let's add server-side scripting. So now our first filter is enabled, and it shows a link field, and it is linked to our server-side scripting. And next field is a date of birth field, and the field type should be date field, and this field is used to filter out the data based on date of birth. And my third field is age field, and this filter is used to filter the data based on age. So these are the 3 fields. Let's save this and go to our report, reload this. And now here we can see our three fields. First one is a link field and it shows all the server-side scripting present inside server-side scripting doc type. The second one is a date field and it is a date of birth field. Then third one is age. We can enter age here. So right now if I enter something, it does not return any value here because we are not added any Python script into this report. So let's add some Python script and create a new report here. Go back to server-side scripting Python file. This is my Python file and now we are not added any script into this file. Let's add a script. I am copying some predefined script into this file. So it's inside client-side scripting 4 and these are the codes I am using in server-side scripting py file. Let's copy this and remove the code and paste it here. Let's comment some lines here. I will explain line by line later. Okay, now it's look fine. Let's close this client-side scripting py file and client-side scripting JS file. Now we are working on these two files, the JS and py file. First we need datas and columns to create a report. So for getting columns, I am adding a new function here and that function is get columns. So let's uncomment this function and inside that function I am added three columns and first column is first name and the label is name. Then the second column is field name, date of birth and DOB. Then it's a date field and the third column is age and I'm added a label age. We can also define width of each column using this width variable and the first column width is 120, then second column is also 120 and for third column I am using 100. So this will arrange the width of each columns. Then I am returning that get column function into a column variable. Next we need data. So for getting data I am using a function get cs data and I am passing filter parameter into this function and we can filter out data based on each filter. For example, if we want to filter out the data based on name, we can use that name field here. Then based on date of birth, we can use this field name date of birth. And if we want to fetch a specific age data, we can use this field name age. So let's define the get cs data function. So this is my function and let's uncomment this. Here I'm using another function to filter out the data and that function is get condition. From this get condition we can add different conditions to this doc type. So for example, I am just iterating that filters using a for loop and then if that key is here we can add that key value to that condition. This will return a condition list and we can use that condition list to fetch the data. For data fetching I am using Frappe getAll inbuilt method and let's change to server-side scripting here because we are using server-side scripting and the doc type is server-side scripting and the fields are first name and DOB then age. I am fetching these three fields. Then in filters we can add the condition. Mainly I am focusing on three conditions. First is server-side scripting name, then date of birth and then age. So the conditions are defined in these filters. Next we can order this data using first name descending order. Then I'm not doing any operation here. I'm just returning this data. And if you go up in CS data, we can get the data from this get cs data function. And I am adding one condition here, and this condition is if not cs data, then it will print no record found, and it return just columns and cs data. So we can't find any data here, and if there is any data, we need to map the data into these columns. So for mapping, we can use that field names in first and the data in second. It's actually a Frappe dictionary, and I am using the first name dob and age as the key, and I am iterating the cs data and adding each data to that field using a for loop. So this will return a dictionary structure data, and I'm appending that dictionary structure to our actual data list. So this contains a list of dictionaries. Then I'm returning this execute function. It's actually an execute function. So here I am returning that execute function using two parameters, and they are columns and data. I am not using this one right now. Let's remove this and save this. Now we have done the coding part. Let's open the report and reload it. We can see that report with the name and DOB, then age columns. So we can filter this report using three filters. Let's add a filter here. I just want to fetch this server-side scripting name and age. Then click on that. We can see the data name, and DOB and age is not available for that script. Let's select different one. Here also that is not available. Okay, some data are missing in those forms, so that's why it is not showing properly. Okay, let's remove this filter and let's add a date of birth filter here. This is actually a date field, and we can only select 18th April because only one data have date of birth. So let's remove this and let's add a age filter. Here also we have only one age is available. So if I type 18 and enter, it shows no data found message box. It's because no data is available with age 14.